Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Friday, February 4th, studentloanjustice.org live stream. My name is Alan Collins. Doing a slightly early live stream today. Some good news broke, and that is that the Department of Education withdrew their opposition to a bankruptcy filer in court. Now, normally this wouldn't be that big of a thing. We've seen for many years our opposition wants no changes in the law. And so they stoke the media with all these one-off examples, these rare cases where people get discharges in bankruptcy. And they use that to point to and say, hey, look, the bankruptcy laws are fine. Bankruptcy laws don't need to be changed. You can get your loans discharged in bankruptcy. Well, and part of this story is that it's true, but it is significant that the Department of Education is now withdrawing their opposition to this borrower because the undersecretary, James Kvaal, said in the tweet where he announced that they are looking into they are looking at that very question of how they treat student loans in bankruptcy. And that's very important. What you don't know, and you probably should know, and I think I can tell you. Why not? So I know James Kvaal. I've known him for decades now. And before he took office, he told me that he would push for exactly that, for the Department of Education to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. It's not a perfect fix, but it is significant. It is something at least. I hope that we see that from James, who is Undersecretary of Education. So he's actually Richard Cordray's boss on the organizational chart. Richard Cordray runs the federal lending program, but whatever. So it is a very good sign. However, we still have to keep fighting for a change in the law. Maybe the most important thing I'll tell you tonight. And by the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. If I can see them on either Twitter or Facebook, I will gladly respond to them. I can't always see them, but we'll see how it goes. So it is, and a lot of times people say, "Oh, it's a step in the right direction," and it's not. It's like a moonwalk. Like that Navient loan cancellation a couple weeks ago. That was just nonsense. It was just fake. This is actually a small but not insignificant step in the right direction. And quite frankly, what this whole thing tells me is that we need to push James Kvaal way harder. And if you're watching this, James, sorry, buddy, but hey, you're a public servant. You need to respond to the needs of the people at long last, while we have been absolutely destroyed by this lending scam for years and decades. So yeah, guys, we need to push Richard Cordray and the president and Toby Merrill and James Kvaal and anyone that you can find within the Department of Education, even members of Congress, etc. We need to push to end the practice of the Department of Education and its contractors, like ECMC most notably, opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. So I see that as sort of the minimum that the Biden administration can do if they want to prove that they are at all believable, that Biden's campaign pledges before the election have absolutely any currency whatsoever. So hopefully that will happen. But ladies and gentlemen, you've got to push, because these are your loans and this is your problem. And I know I say that a lot, but it's more true today than it's ever been. And the one thing we've learned over 17 years of doing this is that when you do nothing, nothing good happens. We've got a huge muscle to flex. We've got over 1 million people on our petition now. Change.org/cancel student loans. Please push it. We should have tens of millions of people on this petition. But we've got a big muscle to flex now. And that only happens when you sitting there help us. We are a fiercely nonpartisan group. We are as grassroots gets, which means that when the grass Like I'm a blade of grass, you're a blade of grass. When the grass doesn't do anything, nothing happens. So you got to own this problem and fight with us, because nobody in Washington, D.C. is going to solve this problem in any kind of a way that we like unless we push them. So if you go to our Twitter, I think I have our Twitter handle posted there. If you go to our Twitter account and see my most recent tweet, like today, you'll see a reply that I did to Undersecretary James Kval. I would ask you to retweet that and do something else with it. Do 5 other things with it. Copy it to newspapers, copy it to media organizations, etc. It will help. So yeah, the news today is good. It's not great, but it's good. It's a step in the right direction. We still have to fight very hard for S2598, ladies and gentlemen. That is the most important thing right now. The bill is very well positioned, and thankfully, over the past week, we're finally getting some good media coverage of this extremely important bipartisan bill, S2598. So what the bill does is the bill returns bankruptcy rights to federal student loans that are more than 10 years old. There's a little bit of a caveat there, which is not great. But it's still a very good bill, a huge step in the right direction for us, like way bigger than the thing we saw today, way bigger than even if and when the White House stops opposing student loan borrowers in total. S2598 is what you should be working on right now if you care at all about getting your loans canceled, getting maybe even just a break on the interest or any sort of a halfway compromise solution for yourself, or in the worst case scenario, if you need to file for bankruptcy, as some people do, you need to be fighting for S2598, because I don't think we're going to see any meaningful loan cancellation, no meaningful workout of the loans unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. Very, very important. So if you go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, you will see daily actions. I urge you, I beg you, I command you, but maybe beg is better. Go to our daily actions and do at least a month worth of our daily actions. They are very short. It's Twitter stuff. It'll probably take you about 15 seconds to do 1 day worth of our actions. It's not all Twitter, but it's mostly Twitter. So please do that. And I'm looking for comments now. Yeah, so it was a good week for us, ladies and gentlemen. We finally got some meaningful press coverage on S2598 in places like Business Insider, another new website I'm frankly not familiar with. I can't remember the name of right now. Also Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News, and so forth. So that's good. Oh, one quick announcement. If you are a conservative, but you were strongly inclined to vote for Joe Biden in the last election, a reporter for a very prominent news organization would like to interview you. So PM me, send me an email, Alan, ALAN, @justice@studentloanjustice.org, and we will make that happen. Hopefully. Hey, we have a comment from Leslie. Hey, Leslie. Leslie says this was a good step, but not the end. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Leslie. This is nowhere near the end. The end comes, in my view, the big victory is when we get bankruptcy protections returned legislatively, not administratively, legislatively to student loans. I think that is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back of this massively failed lending experiment. And by the way, guys, we got this. I mean, this lending, there's no saving this lending system. You know, more than half, 64.3% of all borrowers were not paying on their loans even before the pandemic. And the people in Washington, D.C., No offense, James Quall. There's some good people there. They don't know what to do. They have no idea. They're like a horse in the hospital, as one of my favorite comedians, John Mulaney, likes to say. Even the horse doesn't know. The horse doesn't know what he's going to do. Yeah, this is the Wild West, guys. This lending system is vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak. Could have a good ending, and that's what we're fighting for, which ultimately, hopefully, will be the total cancellation of all federally owned student loans and the return of bankruptcy protections to all of the loans that cannot be canceled administratively. And there are a few private loans, FFELP loans, etc. But there could also be a very bad ending. This could be the swamp people are fighting hard. The people at Forbes magazine and little snakes from the Treasury Department like Adam Looney that wind their way into the Brookings Institute and publish ridiculous, dishonest analysis papers against us. The swamp is fighting hard. So, hey, we had another comment from Evelyn. Hey, Evelyn. Yes, it was a small victory with a big significance. I don't know how big of a significant it was. Significant that the White House publicly announced they are withdrawing their opposition. That is significant. That's something we haven't seen before. We have seen the White House withdraw their opposition in the past, but they haven't made a very big deal about it at all. These cases were typically settled under seal, so no precedent was set, et cetera, et cetera. So I like what I see. Quite frankly, Joe Biden is obligated to order the department and all of its contractors, most notably ECMC, as I said before, to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. He's obligated. He said he was endorsing Elizabeth Warren's student loan plan during the election. And part and parcel of Elizabeth Warren's student loan plan was a pledge to return bankruptcy to these loans by not opposing borrowers in bankruptcy court on day one. So Joe Biden was supposed to do this on day one. And I think James Kval and Richard Cordray, hopefully, certainly Biden's campaign manager, Craig, knows this very well, Greg. And this is the minimum that they can do, ladies and gentlemen. It is the very minimum that Biden can do to maybe stop his presidency from absolutely cratering, like crashing and burning, which it appears to be doing right now. No amount of tail wagging the dog thing is going to help that, I don't think. We could go to war with Russia tomorrow, and I don't think that Biden's approval ratings are going to go up very much. There are 40 million pissed off student loan borrowers, many, if not most of whom, voted for Biden, and he betrayed us. So this is a great test for the Biden administration, the first of what will be many. And that tweet, if you go to our Twitter account, the tweet that I replied to James Kval with, I asked for two things. The first thing is what I just said: stop opposing all student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. The second thing is push very hard for not only S2598, which returns bankruptcy to federal loans, but also for another bill, HR 4907. So that's Representative Cohen out of Tennessee, Steve Cohen. That will return bankruptcy rights in a limited way to private student loans. So that is a very important bill, an extremely important bill if you have private loans. It is not nearly as far along as S2598. So if you have private loans, you better start fighting very hard for HR 4907. But S2598, the Senate bill for federal loans, is the one where most of our energies are put right now, guys. The most important thing anybody can do to push this bill, S2598, right now, is to convince a Republican senator to co-sponsor the bill. And again, look down our Twitter feed. Today, we sent 4 tweets to senators in Florida, in North Carolina, and a couple other states, Texas, and there one other state. But yeah, just look at our Twitter feed and retweet the snot out of those things. Retweet them to other Republicans. Retweet them to chambers of commerce in the various states that we used. Retweet them to news organizations in those states. All that stuff helps. And as long as you're sitting there doing none of those things, nothing is happening. You cannot sit there and watch and wait and be entertained by this, eat popcorn, cheerlead, and do nothing. I mean, you can, but don't be a dick. Help us, because nothing will happen until you own this problem. Like, do you want to be sitting here 5 years from now saying, wow, I really should have gotten off my ass 5 years ago and did that 5 minutes worth of effort, but I didn't. And now I'm still fucked with student loans. Pardon my French. I don't think you want to be that guy. Now is the time. The sausage is being made right now. Now is our window of opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Either you seize it or you don't. So if you turn off this live stream tonight and you don't do anything, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Quite frankly, you should unfollow us and get out of our group, because I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm just a normal borrower. Everybody in our group are just normal borrowers by and large. We want nothing more than to get these loans gone. You're not special. You're not better than us. You're not entitled. You have no good reason to be sitting on your ass. We need you. And to all the people out there who have been doing the hard, not even hard, but have been putting forth the effort and have been fighting this battle with us, I salute you. You know I do. But to everybody else, this is not a spectator sport. These are your loans. This is your livelihood at stake here, and it truly is. So you have no idea how important you are and how much not only we need you, but 45 million people in the country need you, and tens or hundreds of millions of people who are going to follow in our footsteps need you. If I was Uncle Sam, I'd be saying, I want you. I'm not. We need you. The country needs you, as corny as that may sound. So help. And as I said, if you want loan cancellation, if you just want to break on your interest, or maybe you need to file for bankruptcy, if you want any of those things, you've got to be helping us. As I said, I don't see meaningful student loan cancellation happening unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. So think about it. Think about, do you really want to live the rest of your life with your tail in between your legs, running from the freaking federal government over freaking student fucking loans? Pardon my French. I don't think you do. So anyways, but it was a good week. It was a good day. I hope that you will make a late New Year's resolution to make it a part-time job to help us from here on out, because our opposition is not resting. They are freaking out right now, and they are tripling down against us. So if you don't do it for me, do it for the cat, okay? Anyways, all right, guys, I'm going to leave it there at that. It's Friday. It's the weekend. It is super cold here in Wisconsin. I hope that you guys are faring better in wherever you may be. But take heart. We got this. When you help us, we got this. So go to our website, do our daily actions. If you forget everything I said tonight, just rewind this live stream and watch it again. I said like 3 simple things that you can do. These are very effective, well-tailored, well-designed, well-intentioned actions that will help. And when all million people, 1.2 million people in our little club do it, then it will be done. We will solve this problem within a couple of weeks if everybody on this group actually did what we needed them to do. So, all right, guys, hang in there. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on Sunday. Let's do this. Good luck. Godspeed. God bless everybody.